Oyasumi Punpun, or Goodnight Punpun, is a ride. It is a fantastic coming-of-age story written and illustrated by Inuya Asano, and my god did he do a good job with this manga. It is one of the best pieces of literature that I've read in my 19 years of life. I saw Goodnight Punpun as a realistic portrayal of everyday life and the hardships that an individual can face, and how we as humans will hit a wall and struggle through it, or the struggle would get to us, be too difficult, and we would give up. Let me stop getting ahead of myself and at least start with the story. Goodnight Punpun follows the life of our protagonist Punpun, a character who I could and would compare to myself due to the fact that the manga follows his life in 4 stages: elementary school, middle school, high school, and his early 20s, and tackles themes such as depression, love, social isolation, sex, death, and family. His life is not an easy one, and this manga shows how he runs into countless walls throughout his story and how he deals with it. As I've said, this manga isn't light-hearted, but is actually extremely deep. As I said, it tackles the hardships of Punpun, it shows both his highs and his lows. The manga could possibly hit quite close to home for some of you who could have or could be struggling with any of the many hardships that Punpun goes through. So instead of spoiling some plot points, I'd rather just talk about my thoughts about it, and I've got quite a lot of things to say about it. Punpun and his family are portrayed as these bird-like creatures instead of looking like normal regular humans. They obviously don't actually look like that, rather they are illustrated like that because Asano wanted the readers to be able to identify him easily, and it was intended to make the manga appear simple when it is not, drawing people in with its simple look and dragging them into a much more deeper and meaningful story. I saw his bird-like appearance as a way to self-insert myself into Punpun's shoes, so that I could think about these situations as if they had happened to me, and boy did it work in keeping me on my toes and completely intrigued. Asano somehow wrote these characters and his world perfectly in my opinion, so extremely realistic. Some of the plot points might seem outlandish, but every single time I would sit there and think, yes, I know the chance of this happening to me is extremely low, but it's not impossible. And what if this had happened to me? Punpun is so easy for us to just self-insert ourselves into him, and his world because he is completely normal, just like the rest of us. He isn't some freakishly strong 15-year-old buff shonen protagonist beating the shit out of all the bad people he can see and using the power of friendship to save himself. No, he's just like you and me, a normal person who has a lot of shit on his plate and who experiences the good of life and the bad. He changes from his experiences, just like how his character literally changes from forms and is illustrated in new ways to represent him, and his changes just like how we might change our appearance according to our moods and experiences. He gets dealt a shit hand like how some of us readers have been dealt a shit hand. He is the embodiment of what a normal human being is, and you know what, it fucking works. It makes his story believable and gets you attached to him. I know I got extremely attached to him. Asano even said that he was finished with the feel-good stories, so you shouldn't expect one. The story is dark and portrays and tackles some dark topics, so it isn't for the faint of heart. The illustrations done by Asano really drive that fact home when it needs to. The art is beautiful and really fits the tone of the manga. The majority of the manga just looks like a piece of art to me. I absolutely love the work that Asano put into this manga. I haven't read anything quite like Oyasumi Punpun before. The only manga I've read that can compare to this is Boy's Abyss, and that's like comparing Doom to Animal Crossing. In short, this manga hits like a fucking bus. I was crying, maybe even sobbing. It got me good. It felt like I had a midlife crisis before I was 20 and had me contemplating the meaning of life. Sounds cringe, yes, but it does that to a person. If you like contemplating your existence, give it a shot. I promise you won't regret it.